This video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of Parallel Reality Manifestation 101, showing you everything you need to know to shift to the reality that you prefer with a new way for looking at the world. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a new model. A completely new way. You've probably maybe heard a couple of my videos before talk about it, maybe some other people as well. It's something quantum physics is beginning to learn more and more, is understanding the nature of reality, understanding how reality works. And what quantum physics has showed us is that when it comes to this process, when we study and when we are looking at certain experiments, when we're looking at them, we have an influence on what we are looking at. So we actually influence whatever experiment we're doing. Now, the understanding of this has to do with understanding probabilities. Now, which reality will we experience? Well, it will depend upon the one that we are focused on, the one we have intention on. That has the influence as to which one we experience. Now, when it comes to parallel realities in general, what makes it so much easier to shift to the parallel reality you want or to manifest in general is simply knowing that the reality you want to experience, it already exists. You don't have to create it from scratch. We say in the law of attraction community a lot, create your own reality. That is something that implies that it doesn't already exist, that you have to try really hard and create something out of nothing. This is more about understanding vibrational resonance. Nikola Tesla said that if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of vibration. This is about the key, and also the key when looking at that of parallel realities, is what is your vibration? Because your vibration will determine which parallel realities you are shifting to. Because the truth is we are shifting every second whether we are aware of it or not. What we think of as time is the movement through these parallel realities. And when we start to understand that the only moment that really does exist is this moment right now, in the way that we haven't experienced the past before, because when it was the past, it was now, and we will never experience the future because it will all happen now. By the time the future gets here, it will be the now moment. The power in this is knowing that even though in our mind we can remember the past and in our imagination we can imagine probable futures, those potentialities exist right now in the present moment. So the key is embodying the vibration you prefer, knowing that then that will become your reality. So the easiest way that I like to explain that of understanding parallel realities is understanding that of a film strip. And I've heard this analogy before. It's very powerful for understanding. It makes it a lot easier. A film strip, if we were to even edit this video and stretch it out, we would see different individual frames. These individual frames, if we do it in one fluid motion, it'll look like one long movie. And it has continuity because we're looking at it from that perspective. We're seeing them all pieced together in a way that looks very fluid. However, we know that if we were to edit them and put them on a computer, we could see these individual frames. You might see me like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this. All of these different frames are all existing right now in the present moment. Just like you know that if you were looking at that film strip, you'd be like, well, all the frames exist right now. You see, with parallel reality manifestation, what you do is you imagine and you can see the best strip of how you prefer to be, and you can then take on the qualities of that version of you and decide that that's what you're going to experience. So, with this process, let's understand parallel realities, that we are all individually creating our reality, but more so we are choosing our own reality. The choices that we make determine which realities we shift to, and it also determines the probable realities. The things that increase probability is first off intention. If you set the intention for something to happen, which means almost like a plan, it's a little bit more than a desire. Intention is kind of like a plan to do something and an assumption that it will happen. When you have that intention, you increase the probability of something happening. If I were to set the intention today to go to Sprouts and get some food, Having that intention will increase the probability. Then what I can do is make the choice to get in my car and go on the way there. That will increase the probability as well. That is what shifts us from parallel reality track to parallel reality track. Now, in general, here's the thing. Most people are living in the autopilot mind. The autopilot mind is the doing the same things, thinking the same things, and feeling the same things because we're always in this habitual mindset. Now, the thing is the reality we shift to will always be equal to how we think, feel, and act. So if we're always being the old self, and maybe the old self has layers of conditioning, of caring what people think, of all these negative beliefs, that version of us will only experience a reality that is equal to that vibration. So many times the key to this is to get out of and to be aware of that old self-identity and that old vibration. And awareness is simply all you need, because when you become aware of it, you can then choose something else. We simply aren't choosing because all the choices are already made on autopilot. Most people will get up every day on the same side of their bed, go brush their teeth, take the shower in the same similar type way, eat the same type of breakfast, go to work on the same route, talk to the same people when they get to work, have similar conversations as the day before. These is all. You could say, well, they're choosing that. Well, yes, they're choosing it, but it's an automatic choice that keeps them on the timeline that they're on. You see, there's an infinite number of timelines that we can experience, but when we get locked into the autopilot mind, we stay on that timeline. So this is about being aware of those different timelines and then choosing the one that you prefer, because the choice is what determines the shifting of parallel reality to parallel reality. When you make a choice, like right now, if I were to just go stop filming this video and go to the park right now, that's something I haven't done. It's something that's very spontaneous. That spontaneous action will deviate the timeline that I'm on. Now that may not be a bad thing. Now in general, when we look at the elasticity of time, there may be certain soul contracts you have. Let's get into the spiritual part. There may be certain soul contracts you have that, like almost like appointments that you've made to meet certain people, to be around certain people. And we can deviate on these timelines, but many times it will adjust so that we still make those appointments in whatever way. I was talking to a buddy the other day, that's actually a couple months ago. Victor and I, my buddy Victor and I, we went to Sedona and we talked to these two entrepreneurs that they run a company called AskAngels.com, and they have a big social media following on Facebook, and they're really good at what they do, and they're really cool. We connected with them, and they were talking. We asked them how they met, and what they said is the way that they met was I forget exactly how they met now that I think about it, but I do remember that they said that I think they met through a friend or something like that. But what happened was a year before they actually met, they had the opportunity to meet at a New Year's party that they had no idea they were both at. I guess they were both drinking or something, and they said that there was a possibility they could have met, but they never actually ended up meeting because maybe they were drinking and they weren't in alignment with that. So you see, there's little opportunities that are given to us on certain parallel reality tracks, and then that leads to eventual appointments that we may have. And that's why we have guides. We can call them guides, we can call them parallel versions of us, the higher self, that is guiding us through this experience. Because many times we think when we go to bed at night, we're just going to bed at night. When actually we're awake at higher states of consciousness, and we're planning out certain appointments, potentialities, seeing and looking at probabilities of parallel realities we can shift to. So what Miles and Melanie may have done is they may have met each other, or they didn't meet each other at that time, and what they did is then something else happened later on that allowed them to then eventually meet up. And now they've been together for, I think, 10 years. So you see, that is kind of how it works from the many different levels, because parallel realities is something that we're constantly shifting to. It's about understanding that what you want already exists. You don't have to create it from scratch. It's more so about identifying the frequency of what you want. And there's certain turning points of shifting to parallel realities you want. It always normally comes from a choice. It is a choice, but it's a choice that's made with awareness. There's certain times in my past that I made a choice I wasn't going to soak soak in the pain of my past anymore, so that's what drove me to learn meditation. There was the biggest choice I've ever made was to go daily on YouTube when I was working a 9-to-5 job that I didn't like, and it was a choice. I had to change my energy. I had to change my mindset. I had to change my self-image. And as I started doing the daily videos, I did change my self-image because I saw myself as able to accomplish more, and then that reality became equal to that self-image that I had. The self-image is kind of like the identity or the vibration, and the vibration is the combination of what you think, feel, and act. I was then becoming the kind of person that think, feel, and act as the version of me that was doing full-time YouTube, because I was doing and making videos every single day on YouTube while I was working a 9-to-5 job. So think about it in terms of vibrational frequency. The truth is, you are shifting billions of times per second, whether we're aware of it or not. We don't have to learn how to shift. That's another thing too. We don't have to learn how to do it. We do it naturally. It's a natural byproduct for the way reality works. Even when people look at like manifestation in general, I got to learn to manifest. You're already doing it. It's just what are you doing it to? How much awareness do you have, and what are you creating or choosing? Most people just are unaware of that, or they're just in the autopilot mind, or they're in reaction to their life. You see, we are creating our own or choosing our own reality with our choices and which ones we shift to depending on that probability of the current momentum we have. In the same way we are creating our own reality, the society that we live in, the collective consciousness that we've chosen to be a part of, is also shifting through these different timelines. And there's like a variance, almost like a bubble, where we will all have certain experiences and we're sharing it together, but at the same time we have our own version of it. There's some parts of it that might overlap. So the worlds that we're shifting to right now, the society, the different governments and whatnot, the idea is that collectively we are deciding this. However, there's a little bit of a variance with that as well, whereas we create our version of it. So people that are focused on the very negative timelines of all of these camps, like FEMA camps or whatever it is, people looking at like the dark side of like people behind the government and stuff, by drawing in that energy and being fearful, they actually make it more probable that they shift to that reality. Whereas somebody, maybe like me or you, maybe someone that's not focused on that, doesn't even experience that. Most of what we experience comes from our focus. That is going to be the general line of the parallel realities we shift to. If you change your focus, you change which realities you shift to. So understand that this is a collective and an individual thing at the same time. It's a little bit of both. And you begin to let go of the things that no longer serve you. Then you let go of those parallel reality attachments. Because in the present moment right now, as you change the probabilities that you shift to. And that's why it's always about embodying the emotions you want now, because then you experience more and more of those parallel reality versions of you. If you say, I really, really want something and I don't have it, in the present moment, you're putting out a vibration of lack. Your body language will subconsciously mirror that vibration of lack, and therefore the reality that you continue to shift to will mirror that vibration of lack. But if you feel 100% whole and complete now, and you're grateful for what you have, you're in a vibration of abundance, you will then experience a reality of abundance. You see how that works? This is about being aware of your vibration, how you think, feel, and act, and understanding that the parallel reality that you want to experience already exists. And then people get into talking about the Mandela effect. The past that we have. And the past, how sometimes we can agree or look at certain parts of our past and be like, well, no, it was completely different than that. Well, understand that right now in the present moment, just as our probable futures are changing depending on the emotions we have, the actions we're taking, the thoughts we have, the vibration, the past is also changing. But for some reason we think the past is set because it's in our memory. But every time you remember something, science shows us that you take the memory out of the memory bank, you look at it, you change it just a little bit, and then you put it back. So the past that you think you had, you don't even really, it's not even that accurate. But we'll tell ourselves that story over and over again, and the story we tell ourselves becomes one of the probable futures. So if we let go of that story, we let go of those vibrations, we let go of those past influences that then influence our quote-unquote future. It's about being aware of our past and choosing to let it go. The power of parallel reality manifestation is that you give yourself permission to let go of your past. Because in the present moment, as you change, so does your past. So does the parts of your past that you remember. If I were to sit here right now and think of times I was confident and get into a confident state, when I try to remember my past, to remember confident memories will be very easy. If I tried to remember things that made me feel unconfident, when I was feeling confident, it would be very hard to do because it wouldn't be as relatable. Both reference experiences exist right now, but one has an easier recollection depending on my state. Depending on your state, how you feel, your vibration, that will determine what parts of your past you connect to. But it's still changing. It's changing right now. And the power of parallel reality manifestation is understanding you are not the result of your past. You are who you choose to be in the present moment. Remember that. You are not your past. The more you tell yourself the story of your past, the more you live out that vibration. Oh, this person treated me this way. I was in this type of relationship. You'll continue to draw upon in the probable futures, in the present moment right now. You continue to resonate with people that have the same type of characteristics, that treat you the same way and all of that. Let it all go. The power of this is knowing that you can let it go. You can be aware of it, allow it to be there, and then just simply let it go. That's where the power really is. Now, when you go from there and realize that right now is the only moment that exists, and you start to really embody the present moment, amazing things begin to happen because as you increase your frequency, you then experience a reality that is equal to that. Now, for this process, here is how you identify the reality you want to experience and you start to shift to it. What you do is right now, imagine to yourself the best possible case scenario reality you could experience. What does that look like? What are you doing in that reality? What kind of thoughts do you consistently have? What kind of emotions do you feel? This version of you exists right now, and you are connecting to it, and anything you look at and pay attention to, you draw upon qualities of it. So, by just looking at that version of you and being aware of it, you can then see how you can bring those qualities of that version of you in your present moment right now. Here's the key though. Here's the magic of this whole process. When you imagine the best possible version of you, don't just imagine it with everything you'd want on the outside. The house, the car, husband or wife. Instead of just thinking of that, think of the passion inside of yourself for what are you doing for a living? What are you passionate about? How do you relate to other people? Do it as more of something that's connected to your heart. Because when it is connected to your heart, it has more power. It threads you into that reality you want easier than ever. This is more than the mental. This is a combination of the mental and the heart. What is that version of you doing, thinking, and how is that version of you acting? Now, what you can begin to do is begin to bring in the current moment right now, begin to bring those qualities and those vibrations into your present life. Give yourself permission to feel those now. Because think about it, we always give ourselves permission. In the future, I will feel X, Y, Z. And then the future comes, but then we up the ante even more. Okay, well now I want more. And we're never happy. The key is to be happy now, because as we're happy now, as we're passionate now, we experience more of a reality of that. So it makes the process quicker. It actually speeds up the process. It's just that we're conditional in our mind. We have rules. When I feel this, then I'll be happy. That version of you already exists. Draw upon the qualities and do the passionate things that that version of you is doing. Do them now. Like I said, the biggest choice I ever made, I mentioned almost every video, I'm aware of it, is when I worked at Barney's, New York, and I made the choice to make a daily video a day because I imagined the future version of me, how I would be doing, acting, and feeling. And I thought to myself, what could I do now to get and to shift to that reality? And the idea that came to me was make a daily video every single day. What happened is I felt that if I made a video every single day for a year, my life would be transformed. And within 6 months, I was able to let go of my job. Could have done it sooner actually, but I was able to let go of my job and then just do what I love full time, and it's been like that ever since. So, vibrational resonance is where it's at. Imagine the best possible version of you. Bring those qualities and the vibration connected to the heart into the present moment, And understand that as long as you give yourself permission for that to be that version of you, everything begins to change. Give yourself permission to be that version of you. We just have all these rules in our mind. Well, I'm not credible, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. Just be. Focus on being in the passion. That's why we're connecting to our passion, not to some intellectual idea of, oh, I picture myself living in a mansion with this kind of family, blah, 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 being this kind of person. It's more so about the feeling, the passion. Draw upon those qualities now. And as you do so, in the present moment, you will then begin to shift to that parallel reality. So remember, there's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. They all exist right now. What we think of as time is the movement through these different parallel realities. The best way for you to shift to the reality you want is to identify the vibration of that version of you, how you think, feel, and act, and simply decide that you're going to start to embody those qualities right now in the present moment connected to your heart. Understand that as you do that, you begin to experience a reality that is equal to that emotion, that vibration. You can let go of your past. The past is not who you are. You are who you choose to be in the present moment. As you begin to embody this moment now of that passion frequency, it will thread you to all the timelines you could possibly want. And one of the easiest ways to shift timelines is simply making a new choice. Make the choice right now to follow your passion. Make the choice right now to connect to your heart center and watch how your life changes. Now, something I'm creating right now is actually called the Shift Experience with me, Aaron Doughty. I'm going to be traveling the world giving seminars on it. And it's also going to be a product that I have, like a course that you go through that helps you to shift your level of consciousness. This combines parallel reality manifestation with that of states of consciousness, of raising your vibration to a higher level, being more in tune with who you really are at a deeper level. It is going to be the most powerful thing I've ever created. I've already started making it. If you want updates, you'll see at the top of the description box below. You can sign up and I'll send you updates as to when that becomes live. Also, I'm going to be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you want more interaction from me, if you want to ask me questions, I do a lot of live Q&As there as well. You'll see the top right here. You can go and follow me on Instagram. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification here next to the subscribe button so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.